Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk about the secret of spiritual manifestation. So spiritual manifestation, the secret, all of those things. There's a variety of approaches to people wanting to manifest. Usually it's manifesting things in their life. So they want, a better job or better career, or they want more money or whatever it is. They want a mate, they want a certain lifestyle, all of that kind of stuff. And different spiritual traditions have different approaches. But we can boil all that down to some of the fundamentals that we teach at Modern Kriya, our website, modernKriya.com. So one of the primary things that is usually taught about manifestation is having like a visualization and putting energy towards it, right? So you can have a variety of techniques to do that. It can just be a visualization in the mind of you being in that situation. So for instance, you visualize that you're in a career that you really want to be in, or you're in a family situation that you really want, etc. So that's one of the ways, right? And that is an important approach, but there's a few things about that. So one of the things in the manifestation where you're using sort of visualization is that people need to have sufficient energy in the visualization. It's not just thinking a thought. You want to pour your energy into that visualization so it starts to have an energetic resonance to it. Now, there's a variety of ways of doing that. Just repeating affirmations is kind of like the lowest level, right? You're using words to convey a thought, right? But you want to have feelings about that as well. So when people are doing visualization work, you want to pour more into your visualization than just the thought and just the words, right? You want to pour the feelings into it. And that's one of the things that we do at Modern Kriya is, from a Taoist internal alchemy approach, when we're doing a lot of internal work, we don't just do what is called visualization, you do actualization. So that is feeling those things. It's not just thinking about them, it's how you feel about them. It's trying to embody them, to get the sense of them in your body. So the thinking, the feeling, everything. So that's one of the approaches that we use at Modern Kriya is Taoist internal alchemy for a lot of our internal work. And more than just thinking about something, we try to feel it. When we visualize something, it's not just the form. We want to fill it with color. We want to fill it with texture. All of those things, you start to breathe it into life. It's like you're growing your visualization to manifest. So that is really important. The other thing that you want to do with your visualization is to visualize that is happening in the present moment. You're not trying to project it into the future nor into the past, but into the present moment. And the reason for that is so that your internal energy knows what to do, where to move now. So when you're visualizing it, if you're using an affirmation and a visualization, you want to affirm it and visualize it as it is happening at this present moment. This is very important. You don't want something in the past, you don't want something in the future. Because if you just have a vague hope about something, you're not going to necessarily manifest it. Now, the other thing that you want to do, which is really important, is to get out in the world and work for that visualization. You want to do whatever you need to do in the physical world, in the regular world, to help that happen, right? So it's not just having a vague hope. It's not just visualizing and hoping the gods are going to give you something from the sky. You need to go out and do it. You need to interact with other people, right? Find people to connect with, to help to fulfill your vision. You've got to grow it, and you have to put the work into it. So if you want to be successful in your career, you need to take physical steps, these steps in the world, to help to manifest that and have that clear visualization, right? Obviously, when you're visualizing something, you want to sit down somewhere, likely, and then have that process unfold, right? So filling in your feelings into that visualization and doing it more than just every few days. You want to do that a few times a day at the very least, right? And then taking steps to help to fulfill that vision. They might bring in a religious element, right, where they're praying to a deity and that kind of thing to help to manifest it. And really what they're doing is when they're praying, right, they're trying to connect and center themselves, and then they're putting that visualization to the deity, right? But really all you need to do is visualize it for yourself. But it can't be just like, praying with the words and then, there's no flesh on it. It's just like a skeleton, right? Like, I want to be a successful doctor, right? And, the vague hope out there, you need to fill it with the energy that is coming from you, to fill it out. Give it the shape, give it the color, give it the texture, all of those things that start to flow from your energy into that visualization to help to manifest it, and then carry it out in the world. And then act accordingly in the world to help to manifest that. Now, there's another aspect to manifestation that most people do not know about at all, and it's very rarely talked about in the spiritual path, is existing patterns within that will sabotage your manifestation. Now, we all have these, right? And there's nobody who's exempt, because we have all had experiences in life where we've laid down different patterns that limit us, patterns of limitation internally, and they have an energetic resonance and shape within. Most spiritual paths don't deal with those at all. They try to put them under the rug to say, oh, I just give it to God, it's going to go away, or I'm going to ignore it and hope it'll go away, or I'm going to repress it and push it down, 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 and then it'll go away. But the thing is that it doesn't go away. You actually need to do the work to resolve it yourself. The problem is that while most people may have an unconscious sense that they need to do this, they've got no skills to do this. And at Modern Kriya, our website, modernkriya.com, we're informed by a Taoist internal alchemy approach. The great thing about Taoist internal alchemy is that you develop skills to have internal transformations. So there's a bunch of stuff inside us, from our feelings, from conditioning, from our environment, from our culture, from our upbringing, from our ancestry, and all that kind of stuff. And there are energetic patterns that have been laid down inside of us. And when we start to do Taoist internal alchemy, we open up an inner space where we start to perceive those things. Now, some yogic or spiritual paths might just say, oh, I perceived it, and I've seen what it is, and I'm enlightened. But they're not, because the shape, the pattern is still there, but it hasn't been resolved. They've just become aware of it. But what you need to do is to open up the inner space to give it the energetic support it needs to resolve. And that's one of the unique things about Taoist internal alchemy that I haven't seen in many spiritual traditions, that they actually create the space to resolve things internally, right? Now, the thing about this and how it connects to manifestation is that if you have these internal patterns that limit you, and especially limit you getting and attaining what you want, what you're trying to manifest, these patterns sabotage that, right? And it could be a self-concept, right? I'm not good enough for that, or I'm not deserving, and so on and so on. You don't really need to know what those things are at a cognitive level. You just need to open up your inner space, give it a space, and tune into that feeling. And then if you have the practices, the skills, you can start to do the internal transformation, right? And what that does is that it removes the static from your manifestation. Because if you're on one hand saying, I want to be a doctor, right? A successful doctor, or I am a successful doctor, right? And on the other hand, you're saying, I'm not good enough or smart enough to do that. This limiting self-concept sabotages your efforts to manifest that visualization, right? So you need to do that internal transformation piece. So that's really like a hand in glove as far as manifestation goes. It's not just about how much you visualize, right? It's not about how you just pray to your deity, to your God, to whatever. It's also about resolving the internal turmoil so that you can manifest that thing that you want, right? So that's a real key that we use at Modern Kriya. Now, I'm not particularly concerned about visualization, and sometimes I use it, but really for me, I know there's so much work there to do internal transformation that is where I put my efforts. And that is really what the sort of primary goal of Modern Kriya is to bring in those practices that people can have those internal transformations. And when things start to resolve internally, then it's much easier to manifest things that you actually want, because you don't have all the static that interferes with your ability to manifest. Your self-concept starts to clear up so that you're more neutral and natural, right? That you start to return to your original kind of nature, which is harmony and balance, right? And you aren't going through chaotic cycles in your life, which make it very difficult to manifest things that you want in your life, right? So that's where really I find the most important thing is to manifesting that, to helping to develop the skills to develop practices that people can use for their spiritual transformation, and then they can start to manifest what they really want. So really that's the key with manifestation, is you've got to have those two things, right? You've got to set the stage, right, if you will, to be clear about what you want to manifest, right? You have to give it your energy, you have to take steps in the world, and then you need to resolve the things internally which will sabotage your efforts to manifest. So really, in a nutshell, that's really, a more holistic approach to manifestation than most of the things that I've seen out there. So if you have any questions about this video, feel free to send me an email at info@moderncrea.com. Also check our website at moderncrea.com and our YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.